This week, Kevin Bacon goes under deep hypnosis and comes out hearing a stir of echoes.
Reese Witherspoon is the femme fatale at the center of some best-laid plans.
And Janine Garofalo and Sheryl Crow are in danger from the Minus Man.
What I don't understand is how a person who spent most of her adult life in college can believe all that superstitious crap.
It isn't superstition.
Come on.
I'm practically a licensed hypnotherapist.
Oh, practically licensed. Isn't that like saying I don't have a license? Ow.
Kevin Bacon scoffs at sister-in-law Ileana Douglas's offer to hypnotize him in Stir of Echoes, a supernatural crime thriller that's one of 5 new movies we'll review this week, plus the revival of one of the greatest films ever made. I'm Roger Ebert, film critic of the Chicago Sun-Times.
I'm Joyce Kohaywick, film critic for WBZ-TV Boston. It is great to be back.
It is nice to have you back, Joyce. Okay, first movie. It turns out that Kevin Bacon's mind is very open to hypnosis in that scene we just saw. And while he's in a trance, he has the first of a series of disturbing visions that haunt him. These unpredictable visitations from the other side prowl through his dreams and even attack him in daylight. His wife, played by Catherine Irby, tells her sister she's worried.
I can't get him more than 6 feet from the couch.
Why?
That's where she appeared to him.
Oh. I'm not shocked that there's another woman. Of course, the fact that she's dead gives one pause. We are talking about a ghost here, aren't we, Maggie?
Yes, we do seem to be talking about a ghost. And somehow it's connected to a sudden premonition he has that their babysitter has kidnapped their child.
Go. Whoa, stop. Take it easy. Give me my kid.
Tell me where she is! You tell me where she is! Hands off her! Tell me where she is!
Hey, everybody shut up. Are you okay?
That girl kidnapped our son.
Is that your child?
You asked him about some
I'm asking about that boy who sure as hell doesn't look like he belongs to you.
Wait, I can explain this, all right?
The babysitter has a motive for her action. She's the sister of Samantha, the name of the young girl who visits him in his vision.
What are you doing?
I'm supposed to dig.
What do you mean?
I'm supposed to dig.
Who said? I see. And what's Jake doing?
Jake is helping.
Stir of Echoes is an effective thriller. The film places its supernatural events in a blue-collar Chicago neighborhood and allows the key events to happen to people we come to know. This is one of Kevin Bacon's best performances, and I like the way it depends on its story and characters to scare us, not just special effects. It's like Sixth Sense in that way. Maybe real movies are making a comeback just when special effects seemed all set to take over.
I am just dumbfounded.
Dumbfounded?
Yes. This film escaped me. There's a point in some movies where I feel myself just deflated, where all of my energy and enthusiasm goes out because I know just where it's going. And that happened to me right in the middle of Stir of Echoes. This thing was headed right for the predictable climax. When it happened, I wasn't scared at all. And I felt like the wife in this movie had gone to great lengths to get certain information that she had about what was wrong with her husband and then ignored it and just kept treating him as though he were insane. She just kept throwing up her hands and kind of walking out and leaving as though they didn't know what was wrong.
I guess a lot of what you say makes sense from a logical point of view, which is not the point of view I looked at the film from. And I agree with you that we can kind of see where it's headed, but it's the journey, I think, that was interesting, the Kevin Bacon performance as this guy whose life is totally taken over by this strange manifestation from outside his knowledge and outside his experience. And that kind of got to me. I kind of enjoyed that.
Boy, it didn't get to me at all, but let's move on.
Okay.
Our next film is a 90s film noir psychological thriller called Best Laid Plans, starring 2 fine young actors, Reese Witherspoon and Alessandro Nivola. In this scene, their characters, Lissa and Mick, have just met, and they are talking about how each of them is planning to get out of the dead-end town in which they live.
I will collect my inheritance. And when all that is accomplished, I will quietly, promptly leave Tropico.
Just that easy.
No.
And how? Before long, Nick gets involved in a shady deal which not only puts him into debt, but also puts his life at risk.
I don't have your stash.
Then I want preparation. You don't have it by Sunday. This is what your world will look like.
The plot is further complicated by Nick's old college buddy, Bryce, played by Josh Brolin. He's holding a girl hostage after she accuses him of rape. When he calls Nick for help, things really start to spiral out of control.
Kill her. It's why I got the call. Give you the nerve. It's out in the open now. Don't pussyfoot around. I kill her?
Best Laid Plans is a difficult movie to talk about without giving too much away. Alessandro Nivola gives a very subtle performance here, well balanced by Reese Witherspoon's and Josh Brolin's characters on either side of the spectrum. Best Laid Plans is an engrossing tale that twists and turns on itself like a vortex, pulling these characters down. I really like this movie.
And I didn't. And I thought that the vortex was just all too vortexable. One of the problems with this movie is that what happened as it got deeper and deeper into the labyrinth of this plot, and more surprises were revealed, was that eventually I just became aware of the plot as this outside instrument that was manipulating these characters, and so I lost interest in them as people because I felt, well, they're not really in control of what's happening here. They're just being pushed around like a pinball.
You know, and I would have said, I will say that in fact, it isn't that they're just being pushed around. They're certainly being put through their paces, and this is a very dark world that they inhabit. But these characters go through something, and they do come out the other end in a certain way, so it's not as though they're just puppets. And I thought the performances were so good, particularly this Nivola's, that he is a full character, that I was very engaged.
The performances I'll give you, but you know, there's a whole group of films now, and I think in a way it started with Tarantino, and then you get all these other movies like Go and so forth, where there's just a plot and a half. And in a way, all you need is a plot and a quarter, or maybe just a plot would do. You don't need that additional layer of stuff that you get impatient with.
No, I thought it was an interesting plot. I thought the layering worked. I thought it pulled me in, and I thought it was very consistent and very well thought out. I didn't find that it was too baroque, if you will.
Okay, coming up later in the show, Rosanna Arquette and Ali Sheedy struggle to stay afloat in the poisonous waters of Sugartown.
Here, seeing as you meet so many directors and all.
This is...
My headshots.
And coming up next, Sheryl Crow and Janine Garofalo are intrigued by The Minus Man.
Well, you must not be in much of a hurry.
What makes you say that?
You'd be on the interstate.
I don't like the billboards.
A drifter played by Owen Wilson meets a troubled young woman played by singer Sheryl Crow early in the chilling new movie The Minus Man. In that scene, he's so soft-spoken and ingratiating that how could she ever guess that he's a sociopath and a serial killer? After he finishes with her, the killer named Van moves on, deciding to stop for a while in a small town where he rents a room from a postal worker and his wife.
Keep your distance.
I suppose.
Well, don't. Don't. Leave him alone. Let's give him a chance to get adjusted first.
His landlord gets him a job at the post office where Van meets a fellow worker played by Janine Garofalo.
What are you doing later?
I have to go to the library. But I'll call you.
When?
As soon as I get your number.
I never gave you my number?
You never gave me your number.
People keep disappearing whenever this guy is around, and here he joins on a hunt for one of his own victims.
My opinion is you could miss a body in a search like this. We keep our eyes to the ground, but we're told to look at the trees as well. I guess in case he hung himself. I look harder than anybody. I look so hard I forget there's nothing to find.
The Minus Man is a psychological thriller of uncommon power, maybe because it's so quiet and devious. Since we know his secrets, every scene in the movie, especially his relationship with Janine Garofalo's postal worker, is filled with suspense and uncertainty. The director and screenwriter, Hampton Fancher, is skilled at building suspense. He puts all of his cards on the table, and then he makes us wait and wait and wait.
At last, we agree.
Yeah.
I saw this movie at Sundance about 8 months ago, and it really got under my skin. I saw it again, and I saw even more in it. And I thought the key to this was this Owen Wilson's performance.
Yes, yeah.
Oh.
The strange thing about this character is that although he's evil by any conventional measurement, he's the victim of his own very deep, obvious mental problems. And yet, at the same time, he kind of wants to do the right thing and do what he should be doing, except that sometimes what he's doing is completely off the map, and he doesn't have any understanding of that.
Uncontrollable urges. The man is undoubtedly insane, but he is the guy that we will say, but I knew him. He was so quiet. how could
No,
this
he never
be?
caused any trouble at
Yeah,
work.
he
You know,
never,
and
he
I've
is
been-
that man.
I've been such an admirer of Janine Garofalo's over the years, and here she gets just the right note. She doesn't just fall for this guy. She's been around. She's a little cynical. She stands back, but she kind of likes him anyway. And the way that they get closer together and further apart, and we realize the danger that she's in, and she doesn't.
Exactly.
Is
And
really,
that escalating tension
yeah.
as he starts to get more and more boxed in, and then we see what he's going to do next. I thought it was a terrific film. It really, really pulled me in. Coming up next, the Hollywood streets are paved with heartbreak in Sugartown.
Can I get your autograph?
I'm delighted to give you my autograph.
It's actually for my mom.
Yeah. Our next movie is Sugartown, a hip and hilarious romp through the L.A. music scene. Not as broad, but more poignant than This Is Spinal Tap. It does tap the same material with an aging group of rockers at its core, trying to land a record deal. They're played by Duran Duran's John Taylor, Spandau Ballet's Martin Kemp, and Power Station's Michael DeBar.
I am not that old broad.
Listen, Nick, she's younger than you are.
Get with the age, Bert. Look, you want to make a record or not?
Not that bad, I don't know.
There are bluntly funny, carefully observed, and quintessentially rock and roll moments like this one involving Rosanna Arquette's character and her husband, Clive.
I'm starting to think about that North American tour you were on right after we got married. You could have met that space cadet on that tour. I mean, you were still drinking then, weren't you? Weren't you? Meanwhile, I was off shooting that Paul Schrader movie, where I might add I could have easily had an affair with Willem Dafoe, who was lifting weights and extremely pumped.
As Clive and the band struggle to make a comeback, a young wannabe, the rabidly ambitious Gwen, played by newcomer Jade Gordon, will stop at nothing to get her first big break, including sabotaging and stealing Ali Sheedy's date with a big record producer.
Oh, now this is cute. This is so cute. It's my painting spot. No, look at how cute this is. Like with some tights and some little black loafers. Like a beatnik. Look. He can ask you about your job for a change.
Sugartown points up the dopey pretensions of this treacherous world, but it never stoops to ridicule. We somehow sympathize with the drug-addled songwriter who may have some talent, with Rosanna Arquette's aging actress, with the guitarist who's trying to hold his marriage together, and especially with Clive's over-the-hill rocker, whose latest opus is called Gravy Stain Girl.
You know, I love this movie, too, and it was co-directed by Allison Anders and Kurt Voss, who live in this world and who know people like this. In fact, I think they know some of the actors in their movie who have lines that are clearly autobiographical, like Rosanna Arquette, who says, they want me to play Christina Ricci's mother. You know, she doesn't want to hear anything at all about that. And what's beautiful here is that these people are kind of a low-rent version of the characters that Altman was looking at in The Player.
Good point.
And they are seen so clearly and with such poignancy and humanity. They're allowed to be people. It's not just interlocking relationships in a kind of a gimmicky plot. You really get involved with these people.
It's true. It would be so easy to make a satire out of all of this and poke fun at these people and just have a series of disconnected vignettes. Again, the filmmakers interweave these characters just enough to give it some dramatic texture.
It is endlessly interesting. Every time there's a cut to another character and another way of handling something, you're surprised and delighted.
Right.
It's really a good movie.
And a lot of
Sugartime.
hip topical references, too.
Yes, indeed. Okay, next movie. Our next movie is On the Ropes, a documentary so powerful that in some ways it deserves comparison with Hoop Dreams. Like that great film, it's about poor inner-city dwellers trying to use sports to escape from poverty. But this one doesn't have such a happy ending. The movie takes us into a New York gym where the trainer, Harry Kite, oversees the careers of would-be champions. One of the boxers, Noel Santiago, isn't afraid to fight, but he's afraid to lose.
I didn't come here to convince you to fight, you know what I'm saying? The last thing I want to see with you is you to get hurt in this sport. But I'm telling you this, as long as you keep walking away from things, you're going to always fall short in life.
Another boxer, George Walton, seems to have a chance at the big time and even has a manager, but he hasn't seen any money yet.
I've turned down more fights than guys get all year. I've had to call up. It's embarrassing for me to call up Cedric or somebody and say, George can't make it this month. He hurt his hand.
For me to have a fight one night, then the next day, I don't have nothing to show for it.
And here's the center of the movie and its most heartbreaking story. Tyrene Manson is a promising young boxer who's law-abiding and respectable, but she has a house full of relatives to take care of, including an uncle who is a drug addict. When cocaine is found in her room, she She claims she's innocent, but she loses everything.
I tried my hardest to even get stuff out of there because I don't drink, I don't smoke, I don't get high. The kids had their friends. They would have some reefer wrappings on the floor. I clean up that house. I clean up Randy's empty crack vials. Yes, I did. And if at times he dropped a crack vial that was full, I'd throw it in the garbage.
You know, it's not often that a movie makes me really angry, but the way the legal system treats Tyrene Manson in this movie is so unfair and so indifferent and so careless of her life that I wanted to confront that judge for not caring more about this young woman in front of him. There's also a lot to be said about her incompetent attorney, for that matter, but the movie's real message is that bad things can happen to poor people just because they're poor. On the Ropes is a powerful film and a good one, and if you see it, you're not going to forget it.
This is an amazing film. I felt in that courtroom scene that was one of the most powerful, dramatic moments I'd ever seen in a film. It was horrifying to see what these people were up against. They are literally fighting for their lives. That's the operational metaphor here, and it really works.
And she has a shot of about 5 minutes.
Exactly.
Or maybe 3 minutes to save her life, and I'm sitting there on the screen. I want to shout out suggestions to her. She doesn't put it in the right terms. She can't get through to the judge. He doesn't care. It's just paperwork to him. And her lawyer is utterly, completely out to lunch, having already screwed up the original court appointment because he forgot it.
There are other subtle things about this film that make it really powerful, where the documentary filmmakers put their camera, because we get to see real things happen as they really occur. This is a wonderful, wonderful story that puts you right in the face of these people.
Sometimes a documentary like this is so powerful it makes a fiction film just look kind of weak.
Truth is more powerful and stranger than fiction.
On the Ropes. When we come back, the revival of a film that makes almost every list of the 10 greatest titles of all time.
Enchanté.
Roger Ebert in the Movies Revival Spotlight is brought to you by Nestle's Raisinets. At the movies or at home, Raisinets.
When they make lists of the greatest films of all time, one title that's almost always near the top is Grand Illusion, the 1937 masterpiece by Jean Renoir of France. Made in the gathering shadows of World War II, it was set in the prison camps of the First War, where officers tried to act like gentlemen but could see that their world was coming to an end. The film tells the stories of 3 French prisoners, an aristocrat, a mechanic, and a Jewish banker, whose lives are joined in a prison camp in Germany.
Messieurs, je rends hommage à votre courage patriotique. Mais ici, la situation est complètement changée. Personne ne s'échappera de cette forteresse.
Erich von Stroheim stars in a famous performance as the former flying ace, now a walking invalid, who is commandant of the camp. He still has a sentimental attachment to the notion that enemies can treat each other as gentlemen.
J'ai connu un Boileau à Berlin, un comte Boileau.
Ah oui? C'était mon cousin Edmond Boileau. Il était attaché militaire.
He was a marvelous rider.
In the good old times, yes. Maintenant, il est aviateur dans la chasse.
That's so. Mais vous mangez pas?
Je ne peux pas couper ma viande, alors...
Vous permettez?
Avec plaisir, merci. Vous parlez bien français?
J'ai travaillé chez Gnome à Lyon.
We know that the trench warfare was incomparably worse than the fairly comfortable lives of these prisoners and their captors, but Renoir needs that distance from the front lines to show how his characters, especially von Stroheim's pathetic German, are deluding themselves. This is really a great film.
It is amazing to look back at this film from now, knowing what we know about war and the brutality that people are capable of, and see how gentlemanly and courtly this interaction is between the officers in a POW camp. It's hard to imagine that world existed, but then that's the point. It was on the verge of disintegration.
I know, the irony in this film is that these people are still trying to behave as if civilization exists, and all around them, it's ending. We'll be back in a moment. Now let's take another look at the movies we reviewed on this show. A split decision on Stir of Echoes with Kevin Bacon. Joyce questioned the logic. I like the mood. Another split on Best Laid Plans, a complicated thriller starring Reese Witherspoon. I found too many plot twists, but Joyce found the film really engrossing. 2 thumbs up for The Minus Man with Owen Wilson's strong performance as a dangerous loner. 2 more thumbs up for Sugartown, a hip and poignant slice of rock and roll life. It opens next week. And finally, 2 thumbs way up for On the Ropes, an unforgettable documentary. So, Joyce, thanks a lot for being here again this week.
So happy to be back. Thumbs up. This was great.
Okay, remember you can hear our reviews on the web, both Joyce and myself, at ebert-movies.com, part of Go Network. Next week, more new films, including For Love of the Game, starring Kevin Costner as a baseball player who falls for Kelly Preston. That's next week, and until then, the balcony is closed.
1-800-US-SEARCH. Locate a long-lost friend or family member. Find anyone. Call 1-800-US-SEARCH.
History teaches us many lessons, one of which is few things last. Like a Moen faucet. Moen, buy it for looks, buy it for life.
I should have used Preparation H.
It helps stop itch and irritation with a soothing layer of protection.
I should have used Preparation H.
Try the Conair Satiny Smooth Waxer. Just roll on the warm wax, remove it with special strips painlessly at the roots, and stay hair-free for weeks.
Closed captioning for Roger Ebert in the Movies is brought to you by...
Know what's inside Lean Pockets chicken fajita? White meat chicken, peppers, real cheddar cheese, and still only 7 grams of fat. What are you gonna pay? Lean Pockets.